So with street cones, we say that it's not what you've done, it's what you can become. We use arts to help facilitate that road to change.
Like a dream from a wishing well, my trawler eyes take everything in wild. I'm walking down the snake path like a hypnotist under a spell. Sadness, disconnection from madness, I leap from the noise. Relief in the shadows, crying out for more, like a hungry child full of life. Hand of smiles, blown away like the flame of a candle out again, deafened by silence, fragile and lonesome again. A break from the sadness, disconnection from there's a hush to destroy. I leap from the noise.
Hello everyone. Good afternoon and welcome to Street Cones live stream for the Scottish Highlands unpaid work and their script entitled One Call Away. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm sure you're excited to see what the participants have been working on. Before we show you that, I invite you on whatever platform you're currently watching this from to give this video a like and to use the comment section to ask us any questions you may have. And if you have a moment, please don't hesitate to give us a follow or subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can find all our links and more at www.streetcones.org. So, I suppose it's time to tell you who I am. My name is Rhona, and I'm one of Street Cones' many facilitators, and occasionally host these live streams. Street Cones, if you didn't know, is a social enterprise and charity that combines the arts with lived experience to try affect positive change for the people we work with. We work directly with people affected by the Scottish criminal justice system, from people on community payback orders to working within prisons or reaching out to teenagers who are getting into trouble at school. The idea behind these Road to Change workshops is that we incorporate mindfulness and well-being exercises alongside creative techniques to give our marginalised a voice whilst developing communication skills, self-awareness, confidence and self-esteem. Our workshops operate under a range of safeguarding guidelines that we often refer to as the privileged environment or protection of fiction. This basically means that participants log in using only their first names, and we ask that no personal details are shared. The facilitators have no idea why these participants have been referred to us. Instead, we focus on writing together. So, for example, while they are creating authentic characters and situations, we ask that they don't reveal the difference between what is in their imagination and what was their real life experiences. This allows participants to explore their issues in a safe environment, free from judgment. This particular workshop that we are looking at today was run by the very talented Marge and Lorraine. They facilitated Road to Change workshops for 12 weeks with a group of participants referred to as by Highland's unpaid work. This group started week 1 with a blank page. Supported by Lorraine and Marge, they started to build fictional characters whilst exploring various themes that grew organically from games and discussions. One of these included mental health, with a particular focus on rural settings and looking at it from a justice perspective. Although I wasn't in the workshops myself, which I am gutted about, to be honest, having read their script, it is clear to see that this group worked very hard and came up with a fantastically unique voice which broaches very important subject matters with sensitivity, respect, and a cracking twist ending. So, if you're watching, you should all be very proud of your work. I am very impressed. This group have performed their completed script in front of an invited audience, and in a moment, you'll be shown a short film from that day. After the film, I will introduce you to our lovely panelists, and we'll have a wee chat with them about the workshops and the themes explored. Just to remind you to submit any questions you have for myself or the panelists in the comments. So, without further ado, let me introduce a short film showcasing One Call Away and the Q&A that followed.
This is the first time we've ever done anything like this in criminal justice up here, and really interested to see how it turned out. And yeah, absolutely blown away by it. That just really kind of captures the reality of something like that, and the choices that people have to make.
Most people would see like a criminal and be like, whoa, he's done bad, don't speak to him, whoa, you can't go near him, he's a bully, or this and that. You get a lot of that in sort of rural places, like especially where I come from. So it's kind of good to see that, you know, not everyone out there will judge a book by its cover by saying he's a nasty guy. You know, if you get to know the person on the inside, he could be the most beautiful guy you met, but on the outside, he could be like a total waster. But you know, it's just how people judge. It's not right to judge because not everyone's perfect.
When I take first part of the class, I do meditation with everybody, and the meditation was all very, very positive. It was all, you know, stuff that was relevant to everybody who attended, and it was all about, you know, like, don't quit, you belong, you know, fill your soul, and it was just all positive stuff. And thanks for that, Lauren, because that means a lot that it actually worked. That's good.
In the class, if you're not comfortable to have the mic on or your camera on, you don't have to. It's completely your choice, which was really accommodating for me, especially considering my anxiety. So it's great knowing that I can hide behind something but be able to express myself at the same time.
You know, I was quite nervous and that, a bit anxious. But as time went on and stuff, like I really quite enjoyed it. It's quite relaxing in a way, and it's quite good. Do you know what I mean? And it has given me a big energy, like a confidence boost.
I suppose I can count myself lucky because of my age, but I need to lay low from now on.
What? You haven't said anything about us lot, have you?
No, I didn't get caught selling.
Zeke starts laughing. He seems to disregard what Lewis said about the CPO.
Right. Well, no need to worry then. I'll forget about last week, but we have a job tonight.
Mate, I just said I can't do it anymore. I've already patched my hours today. They'll start asking questions.
Lewis is looking down at the grass. Zeke's laughter quickly turns into fury.
I'm sorry, what?
I can't do it. I won't do it.
And what? What are you gonna do? Go back to school? Go hang out with your mother at the cemetery? How fucking dare you talk back at me? I am the reason you still exist. I am the reason you have a roof over your head. We are the closest thing to family that you will ever have.
Zeke calms down. Lewis is noticeably nervous.
Lewis, don't be silly now. You know family can become enemies really quick, and you don't want to be on the wrong side of us, do you?
No, Zeke. I'm sorry, mate.
Good. There's a private party at the charm tonight. You're behind on money right now. So here's $2,000 worth of stuff. I will be there too. You know the rest.
Zeke hands him a sealed tub. Lewis is looking pretty apprehensive. He takes the tub and puts it in his backpack.
What time?
10 p.m. at the entrance. Here's your ID.
Lewis, you have a choice. Either go back to them or seek help.
And how do you reckon I do that?
Call this number and tell them everything's happened.
Warren hands Lewis a phone with a number already typed in.
Why the hell do you have my phone, mate?
It was on your bedside table, mate.
Lewis looking down at his phone.
Nah, I can't. Wait, are they gonna do? I have to stay loyal to Zeke. This will mess things up.
Lewis, you know there's a better life out there for you. You just have to keep looking for it. Remember what your mom always used to say. Find that perfect thing, go for it.
I'll never look back.
He looks back down at his phone and hits the green dial button. A woman answers the phone.
Hi there, you're through to Kerry at Christ Society Helpline. How can I help you?
I'm at the hospital and there was this guy. He disappeared, and I don't know where to.
Lewis is on the brink of having a panic attack.
It's okay, take a deep breath for me, please.
Lewis takes a deep breath.
Right, let's keep it simple. What's your name?
It's Warren Fraser.
A weirdo, perhaps, but a happy one, for sure. And you can be as well.
I don't get to make those kind of choices, mate.
But you do, mate. Look, here's my phone number. Please take it. I have been where you are now, and I know it's hard.
But I only just met you. You know nothing about me.
I know a lot more about you than you can imagine. And I think you know the difference between right and wrong. Pass me your phone.
His thoughts are racing. We can hear them play out in his head.
Who do you think you're talking to?
Call me anytime.
We are your only family. You have no one else.
Help is only a call away.
Lewis's heart starts beating faster. His hands are shaking. He's teared up. He looks at his phone, then looks at his bag. He grabs the bag, opens up the tin of ecstasy. Lewis takes several pills.
Probably some people out there in amongst the public who think doing something like this is a bit of a soft touch. I don't think that's right. I think this is just as challenging, if not more so, than going out there and picking up litter or doing other forms of physical unpaid work. You know, we've heard from yourselves about how that's developed your confidence, giving you that motivation to think about doing different things, picking up old interests, you know, overcoming those kind of anxieties around doing something like this. So I think it's absolutely bang on the money.
Yay.
Hey, well done.
Well done.
Well done, folks.
Well done, guys.
And I thought it was just watching my own participants perform that turns me into a big baby, but I've been proved wrong today. Oh, what lovely discussions and really important topics that need to be discussed more. Last time I'm going to remind you, please remember to submit your questions or statements via comment section below, wherever you're watching this on YouTube or Facebook. You can tweet at us as well at @StreetCones on Twitter, and feel free to post whatever you want within reason. It might be about the work we do at Street Cones or community sentences or today's themes. Now, it is with my absolute pleasure to introduce you to our panel, starting with the transcendent Maria Cano, Team Manager of Caithness and Sutherland Community Justice. Hello, Maria. How are you doing today?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Would you like to say a few words on behalf of Highland Justice for us, Maria?
Yeah, well, first, I would like to thank Mark from Street Cons for engaging with us, and Marge and Lorraine for facilitating the workshop. I think it was a very good workshop, and we, our clients really enjoyed it. I want to say thank you to the other panel members for being here today. You'll see them soon enough. And thank you to all the workshop participants, because they really did come out of their comfort zone to take part, and they created a fantastic piece of work. Working with the Street Cons is something that is a first for Highland Council. We had to think a little bit outside the box due to COVID. So we started thinking about other ways of doing unpaid work and other activity. And some of our clients actually didn't even have unpaid work. But they still engage in the workshop. And although apprehensive at first, they were all very pleased with the result and what they achieved at a personal level. It was great to see them transform, and the engagement was really good. So yeah, thanks.
Perfect. Thank you so much for that, Maria. As you said, we've got a lot more lovely panelists to come forth. So next we have the fabulous Julie Marker, who is a rural mental health consultant for a number of third sector organisations, including Listening Ear, Caithness Voluntary Group, and Here for Caithness. That's not here, that's Here for Caithness. We'll put links to all those out on our social media for you to have a look at. Hi, Julie. How are you doing today?
Hi, I'm very well, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Oh, absolutely. Our pleasure. I'm happy to have you here, Julie. Next, we have the wonderful Chris Mackenzie from Caithness Mental Health Support Group. Hi, Chris. How are you today?
Hi, Rhona. I'm fine, thanks. And thanks for inviting me.
Oh, of course. Oh, everyone's so polite. Yes, I'm very good as well. Thank you very much, Chris. Last but certainly not least, we have one of our phenomenal workshop participants. You might recognise her voice from the clip we just watched. Introducing writer, actor, and all-round great idea haver, Sandra. Hi, Sandra. How are you feeling?
Hi, I'm good. Yourself?
Oh, I'm good. I'm ready to go. Are you ready for today? I'm so happy that we have you here. You're like our little window.
Yeah, I think so.
Perfect. Let's get started, shall we? And go to our first question. This is by Facebook. This is Elizabeth Wright. For Sandra, oh, you're being put on the spot, Sandra, already. What kind of impact did attending these workshops have short-term and long-term? So let's look at the first part of that question, short-term. What during the workshop did you really feel were the benefits?
Well, COVID and obviously other life issues, my mental health took a big setback. So being invited along to do the workshop sort of like gave me, I feel like, contact with other people and to work on something that meant something to other people as well. You know, I mean, COVID was bad for everyone, but you know, when you're stuck in a house in a rural country, when you don't know anyone, it's kind of quite bad, you know, really. So it was good to work with Lorraine and Marge and, you know, get a point across without actually using certain people as influences, if you like. I think it was a bit of everybody's life that was put into that.
Mm-hmm. That's lovely. No, especially we can definitely understand us all going through the lockdown situation. All of us were feeling a bit lonely, weren't we? So it's amazing that there was this opportunity for you to go and meet people and talk and get a bit out of your comfort zone. I saw in that clip a few people were mentioning like anxieties and issues with that. Did you feel that the workshop helped with that, or were you still quite reserved? At the start?
I would say I was reserved the first maybe 2 sessions. I think after like 2 in 1 week, and I think after the second one, I had my camera on and my mic on, and I was participating in everything. I mean, they made you feel so at ease. And as you said at the start, it's like a comfort zone. You don't have to come out of your comfort zone. You do what you want to a limit. Do you know what I mean? But you go at your pace. They don't force you to do anything that you're not ready to do. So
exactly,
it helped me.
Yeah, we don't want to put anyone on the spot or feel all eyes on you. Which you can kind of think that if you're going to go and do like a drama workshop, it's kind of like, oh God, are they going to like ask me to sing and do a dance and like I have to perform in front of people? Whereas it's not like that at all, is it? I think Lorraine was talking about she did a lot of meditation with you.
She also did a meditation at the start of the session, and it was good to have, like, you know, just. I mean, I had never believed in meditation before. We were just talking about that earlier on in one of the workshops I'm in just now. And like, I never really believed in meditation and all that, but until you've done it, you don't know how calming it really is. You know, it really does help. And I never ever believed in anything like that before, but yeah, they do make you feel good.
Absolutely, because it's a bit silly to begin with. Take a deep breath in, deep breath out, and everyone kind of rolls their eyes and goes, aye, sure. But it's all about tricking the brain, isn't it? Just like to relax, because a lot of our brains are overacting now and like and jumping to conclusions and getting us all wound up. So it's just a way of like, it's like a trick to make your brain like just calm down.
So I know it, as I said, I never believed in it, and there was a couple of times my daughter would have walked in the bedroom and she just looked at me like I was silly, you know, like, but it really did help. I mean, even she noticed it when the workshop ended and I had that break from workshops. She noticed the difference in me from week to week. You know, like just the amount of sleep I did, the amount of, you know, if I didn't have the workshop to get up for, I probably just slept the whole day, and you know, so. There was something to look forward to in your week.
Oh, that's lovely. That's lovely to hear. So the second part of that question was about the long-term things that we can see. So short-term, we see how much that benefited you, how helpful that was for you at that time. Do you see something like that's going to continue to help you? You're going to continue doing meditation yourself, do you think?
I'm not quite sure about the meditation myself. I think because it was part of a group, I felt more included. Long term, I never thought, like when I stopped doing the workshop, when One Call Away was finished and that workshop had ended, it was just, the days started to drag in again, and you know, the sleep pattern was going crazy, and then like Susie rang me and she asked me if I would be interested in this workshop that's going ahead now, and I just jumped at the chance. I was like, yeah, definitely, you know, because I did feel it helped me massively. You know, it might not help for everyone, but I know for me, you know, they work brilliantly with us and they do a lot for me.
That's so great to hear, Sandra. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I'm glad that you're still with us and you're still going to more workshops. We get more of your good ideas and put them into the scripts. Thank you for that. I'm going to move on to the next question. This is by Janice Cook. In what way are mental health challenges different in rural settings in comparison to urban? I think I might send that question on to Maria. How do you think about answering that, Maria?
Well, I think that, you know, I'll answer that question, but then Julie and Chris will be able to.
I think everyone can answer that question. Everyone can jump on.
Yeah, definitely. Well, first and foremost is remoteness and availability, really. We have got limited resources up here. The waiting lists are massive, and to get any sort of psychological help or assessment, the closest psychological services are in Inverness, which is over 100 miles from Wick. So it's very difficult to take part in some psychological programs, considering the distance and the traveling. Our public transport is not really worth mentioning either, so it is very difficult to actively participate unless there's groups in the north, and there's very few things happening. Sorry.
That's okay. I love having a wee dog in the background. It's good. You can't stop them. But that's a really great answer, Maria. I find that so interesting, especially being so far away and so remote. So the fact these workshops are online, I would suggest that was a really good way of reaching out to people. That because we've got so much information about it. I think that was appearing in that clip, like third highest suicide rate in Scotland at one point I've got here, and and that's apparently 689 are currently waiting on these long waiting lists. I've got as well.
It's also recruitment issues, because recruiting up in the north is a challenge, not just for NHS but also social work. Very few people really want to come up north to work and stay. So we do have some difficulties just filling positions. So there's the lists are just huge, and it's poverty too, and there is a lot going on that it's lack of resources.
Absolutely, completely, very understandable, those limits. So Julie or Chris, would you like to jump in now and give your sort of answer about the difference between urban and rural mental health?
Yeah, I think about 30 years ago, locally in Caithness, the doctors and social workers realised there was a need for centres to address people suffering from mental health illness. I mean, Inverness, over 100 miles away, and roads weren't even as good as they are now. So they looked at providing a service first of all in Wick, which was basically like a porta cabin down by the harbour, and it was so popular that over the coming months and years after that, the Haven was built at the back of the hospital in Wick, in the Bankhead Road, and it was basically a kid house, and an extension was put onto it for pool and snooker and darts and things like that. And then in 2000, with lottery funding, the Caithness Mental Health Support Group managed to build stepping stones in Thurso, and that was architecturally designed with mental health in mind. So you have a lot of light flooding in from an atrium in the middle of the building, and all the rooms are nice and bright, and all the service users do comment on how the buildings help their health, as well as obviously we'd like to think what goes on in the centres as well. But yes, it was something that was addressed quite some time ago, the problem with the rural area.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, it sounds great just having that safe space to be able to meet new people and relax and have fun can do so much for people's mental health. Julie, would you like to join in and have another answer to this question?
Yeah, I think the challenges of being in a rural area and struggling with your mental health just means that current situations or difficulties are just compounded by the fact that you have long distance to services. If you're trying to get yourself out of difficulty because of poverty, for example, it's much more difficult. Thinking about young people that are trying to get to college, for example. I remember speaking to a group of young people struggling with their mental health, and one of the solutions obviously is education and this kind of thing. And then you've got the situation where it takes them an hour and a half to get from one rural area through to a town, through to a college, in order for them to progress, which seems a pretty simple solution. You know, you're young, you're healthy, maybe not mentally, but you know, education is one of those things that we think would help. But the barriers are there, the difficulties. And then you've got examples of people that need mental health treatment. And as Maria and Chris mentioned, that you do have to travel a long way. And it's not just the travelling. If you've got a car, I've done it myself, 2.5 hours each way. But if you've got children that are at school, you don't have a car, you're relying on public transport, sometimes you have to stay overnight, you can't afford it. So the problems are just compounded. And then you've got other complexities within Caithness. As Maria said, it's difficult to recruit people, difficult to retain staff. So yeah, and you know, I could keep talking about this all day, but you know, people that are struggling with self-harming or addiction services, the services are just not there. So if you have those things that make reaching out difficult in the first place, then to be stigmatized, as people often feel, just adds to the problem and actually drives these issues underground more and more. So it becomes more difficult then for people to reach out. And again, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy that I can't reach out for help because last time I tried that, I was treated badly, for example, or not treated well. And then the problem just becomes worsened. So I think that's one of the issues with, some of the issues of being in a rural area and struggling with your mental health. It's just not that easy to get the services at the point of need.
Absolutely, that's a great answer, Julie. Do you think maybe because so rural and so far away, there'll be more reliance on tech and more reliance on online and using Zoom or Teams or WebEx or any of those? Because people who are in serious situations where they are having suicidal thoughts obviously need to be addressed and spoken to by a professional as soon as possible. And these sort of 18 months wait is just too long for these people. So is there more looking at dealing with these things online more and using that as more of a resource? It's with the roads and the lack of people hired in that area, maybe talk to more people in the centre?
Yeah, I think, the near me service has certainly taken off recently, for general illnesses and things. And I've spoken to a number of particularly older residents that have found that really helpful to not have to travel and then travel back. And sometimes, there's incidents back along where they'd have to go and have a bandage sorted out. And, you think, well, you didn't really need to do that. And I think there is progress in the near me service, but also seeing that actually some of the less important or the straightforward procedures can actually be done more locally. So there are encouragements there. But as far as mental health is concerned, I'm not sure that we are at the state where we are offering psychiatric services. There was one incident of, I know, a young woman who was offered light therapy. So I can't remember the name of it now, it's just gone, but the light moves across the eyes as they're undergoing therapy. But unfortunately, the timing of that meant that she was to take a long period of time. The appointment was around 2:00 in the afternoon. She got several children all coming home just after 3, and it just wasn't a good time. So she was given the option: you take that appointment or you don't take that appointment. And if you don't take that appointment, it's back to square one. And this is just one example of where efforts are being made to try and make these things more accessible, and yet they just miss the mark because it's just that, I think it's the early stages, and we need more joined up thinking, definitely.
Yeah.
I think that also is important to recognize that a lot of people don't have data, internet, broadband, so they might not have access to devices that can connect. They might have a mobile, but they don't have internet at home. So there are a lot of barriers that we have to take into account.
That's very true. That's very true. And maybe they could be looking at making sure everyone's got access to these sort of devices, and if that is something that could be given, or more effort put into making sure that everyone is in a Wi-Fi or can be connected to Wi-Fi, if that could just be a one way around it. So I threw that into the mix. Julie, do you want to add something to that?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely been progress in terms of accessibility. I remember sort of 2-3 years ago when I was working in the more rural areas, certainly everyone was talking about, oh, you know, I can only get broadband for, say, I don't know, 2 o'clock on a Tuesday, and for a couple of hours on a Thursday. It was pretty bad. So we were talking about connectivity, but in recent times, certainly at the beginning of the pandemic, we were then talking about affordability. Can people afford to be connected, and do they have the resources? But thankfully, the Scottish Government did actually donate or give a lot of money to providing devices. And I know through Caithness Voluntary Group and other organisations across Caithness, a lot of people were given laptops and iPads. And also that included dongles so that they could have internet connections for up to 18 months. So again, there's progress there, and more people are online. And we know that even the older population for sure are more online now than they were. They're kind of forced to be online. So I know a number of them are enjoying shopping online and yoga, Otago, and these kind of things. So there are things that are being progressed and fairly quickly. So it is the way to go, I think.
Perfect. That's so good to hear, Julie. Right, I'm going to move us on to the next question. This is via Twitter. This is by May Hutchison. Will Highland continue with offering online workshops for unpaid work with the restrictions lifted? So I guess I should shoot that question over to Maria, as your face has just popped up there. Are we going to be continuing working and offering online workshops?
Well, there is one currently that I think Sandra is participating in.
Yes, as Sandra mentioned.
Yeah, Sandra mentioned it. So there's one currently happening.
Oh, that's so good to hear. That's phenomenal. There we go. An easy answer to that then, May. Yes, and it's happening right now. That's so good to hear. Next question is via YouTube. This is James Maybee. I think you guys know this name. Did participating online make it easier than attending something in person? So I think I'm going to shoot that question over to Sandra. Did you prefer that it was online? Oh, you're on mute, Sandra. I want to hear everything you're saying.
Oh, sorry. Sorry.
That's okay.
For me personally, it did, because I'm not great at going into group scenarios. And as you all know, when this started, COVID was at its highest, and we weren't allowed to have our support workers in the house, and support workers weren't allowed to take you places like my support worker would have normally have done. So for me, yes, being online helped a lot, because, and I don't want to sound cheeky or horrible, but you're able to put your camera off at any point. You're able to mute yourself. You can take yourself away if you're just having a little moment where you're having a panic, or when you go into a group scenario, you're either running out of the door like an idiot or locking yourself in the toilet. Whereas online, you can just click your camera off. So for me, yes, it was a hell of a lot better online.
Absolutely, Sandra. It is quite overwhelming walking into a room full of complete strangers and everyone's looking at each other like, who are you? Why are you here? So being in your own home as well, and your own four walls, and that's amazing how you put that little exit, that little moment to take a breath, turns from being such a dramatic, quite horrible experience to something just clicking a button.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's really important, because in these workshops, the most important thing is that everyone feels comfortable and everyone feels safe, because to be able to create something and get ideas out there, you've got to have that confidence to put forward your ideas. And did you find that you got a good connection with the group of participants that you were with?
Yeah, I mean, I think I came in on the third week, the second week or the third week I started, I think it was. And they were just like me, and they were also chatty. So yeah, although I kept my camera off and didn't really speak much at the first week's sessions, just listening to them and knowing that, they were just like me. There weren't people that were going to be judging me. There weren't going to be people that was going to be asking me questions, and you know, I was just one of the group, and that's how I felt the minute I stepped into the Teams meeting, was just part of the group.
That's amazing. It's sometimes so hard to find those moments as well when you feel like invited in and welcomed and
Even
safe.
the second one that's coming on, I mean, Lorraine's doing it, so obviously I know Lorraine, but it's a new lady doing it with Lorraine, and even she's like so down to earth and doesn't make you feel uncomfortable one little bit. It's like comfort, but with your comforts at home, if you know what I mean. Mentally, it's comfort as well.
Absolutely, that's so good to hear. Yeah, we've got so many facilitators, and they're all don't want to toot my own horn, but they're all fantastic. Like, I've worked with so many of them, and they're all easygoing, and we take our time, and it's about building, I think, good trusting relationships with our participants.
I think joining something like that, everybody obviously has different levels of mental health problems, and where I was, you know, just to go in there and know that you had a safe word, know that you had a safe spot, know that it was just, I don't know, it was like walking into a bunch of friends that you've known for years, you know. So I was quite happy to do the second one because of how they made me feel in the first one, because I don't think I would have done it a second time round had they not been like that.
Oh, absolutely, it's like a healing environment a little bit where you can just sort of relax.
Definitely.
That's something that I really focus on, even if it's a distraction, because as a facilitator, we don't know what's going on in the participants' lives. It could be a very difficult situation that they're in, but if they can just, you know, go online and just have a distraction for 2 hours, that can be like such an important thing for people. I've had a participant that, same as yourself actually, was quite hesitant to begin with, didn't turn their camera on, was very, very shy, sort of rolled their eyes and was like at the meditation and things, oh, I don't know if I can do that. And then as time went on, just blossomed, and just you couldn't stop them talking, doing improvisations and laughing and I mean, I've trained as an actor, and they could do better accents than me and better impersonations. As Boris Johnson was spot on, like, and just came into his own. And he said to us at the end, just so you know, like, you guys get to see the real me. I have to go out when I go to work and I go hang out with my mates. I have to be like the big man, the tough man, put on a face and things. Whereas because I'm in my own room and it's you guys, I can just act like he said, act like a fanny. And I was like, we love it when you act like a fanny. It's so funny.
We had a girl in the first group. She didn't turn her camera on the whole 12 weeks that we were there. But she was amazing. She was so out there with us all that, you know, she just didn't have the confidence. And as you said, it's confidence building as well, because I wouldn't normally write a play or write anything like what we did. That's nothing I would do or even think about doing on a day-to-day basis. And for all the crazy little ideas that went into that, it came out to be one very important message. And so confidence building, it done me the world of good. So I never thought I'd do anything like that, ever.
Oh, I'd say, like, as I said, I was blown away by the script, and I heard from Lorraine and Marge that the ending point, that's a kind of like little twist that we saw in that clip, where the character of Warren, who's always helping out Lewis, who is this orphan who is dealing drugs because of this bad influence in his life that he's dependent on, and this Warren character is helping him out and giving him good advice and saying lovely things to him, giving him hope. And at the end, it's sort of hinted that Lewis is in fact connected with Warren. And I heard that came from you, Sandra. And it's open to interpretation, like all good scripts are.
I remember coming out with that. I remember coming out with that saying, and I remember laughing because I was having a really bad day that day. And you can't have a bad day in them workshops because honestly, they just make you laugh at the most silliest of things. And I don't even know where that came from. And then so that's brilliant, we're going to use that. And I'm like, really? Like, I just sitting back in my bedroom thinking, I've just said something that sounds really stupid in a group of people. But yeah, it was used. And
It's my favourite part. It's my favourite part, hands down, because to me, what I read it is that Warren was kind of like Lewis when he's older, or it could be an aspect of Lewis's own imagination that he created.
No, I made it sound like the way I said. Have you ever has anybody ever asked you the question, if you could go back to your 15 years old, what would you tell yourself? And so I made it seem that Warren was actually Lewis, just in later life, to try and that was Lewis as an older man trying to steer Lewis onto the right path rather than go down the wrong path or continue on the wrong path that he was on. So that's the way I sort of portrayed it. It was like answering yourself a question, because I sometimes sit and say, if I was 18, what would I tell myself? You know, what things would I do differently in life? And I think that's what I was trying to do.
To me, it really came across like this really important thing of sometimes the person that helps you is yourself. Sometimes the person that you need to give you hope and to give you an idea of a future, something to look forward to, and to make these decisions, these hard decisions, sometimes it needs to be yourself. I think, absolutely. I think Julie sort of remarked on that as well, this idea that you just need to talk to someone. And as soon as you talk to someone, you tell someone, then everything will get better. Not necessarily. There's a lot of stigmatism. There's a lot of stigma towards mental health. And not everyone has that really great support system. And as we've talked about, not everyone has access to mental health care when they need it in that moment. So, and sometimes it has to be...
I wasn't, and I've only been up the Highland. I've been back in the Highlands for just over 3 years now. And I can honestly say, and it's not because I'm in a group, I'm in a panel with people from the Highlands, but I have never had so much of a good support system than I have just now. But as Maria had said, it's like I waited 3 years for some kind of like the biggest help that I need. But my CPN has been amazing. I mean, the help that you do get, they do try their best from what resources they've got, you know, and I've noticed a difference in me from when I came back up to the Highlands and the help that I got.
That's good to hear, Sandra, that you feel that you've got that support system now, because it's hard to
Yeah.
find and it's vital. It's really important for recovery and everything like that. So that's amazing. I want to talk forever about this, but there's so many questions coming in and I'm just ignoring them. So I'm going to jump back onto the questions. Also, just a wee hint as well, you can also submit any comments or questions you have directly to mark@streetcones.org. We have another question via YouTube. This is another question from James Maybee. Scottish Government need to ensure there is sufficient resources so that wherever people live, they can access the same level of services, be it Caithness or Glasgow. Which is a really amazing statement, James. I think we can all get behind that. No one should be left behind. No one should be ignored. Everyone in every area, people who need help, they need to find that help. And that's amazing what Sandra just said, that she felt she's found that support system in the Highlands. Does anyone want to add any more comments on that or anything you want to add to that? Opening the floor. No, I mean, James, maybe you've said it yourself.
That is the right statement, and I think that we are trying to work as hard as we can to bring that to the fore, really. And Julie and Chris, and you know, we participate in forums trying to make things happen and change so that people in Caithness and Sutherland can have better outcomes and improved lives and mental health. It's just, you know, receiving the right support at the right time in the right place, really. And it should be about accessibility. And if someone is ill, being physical health or mental health, receiving the right support timely.
I think it's one of the things about a rural area is places of safety, and quite often in places like Caithness, that could mean a police station, whereas maybe somewhere more centrally, it can be somewhere that's a bit more adequate than a police cell.
Absolutely. Well, it's great to see all you guys working hard and making sure that, you know, as true as it can be. And it's great to see that you guys are all working for that and working for the people who need help. Our next question is via Facebook from Liam. Great work, Street Cones. I attend workshops in a different local authority. Last module finished. Hope another one starts soon. Oh, so we've got another participant that is making a comment and just saying his support. It's great to hear from you, Liam. I think I know who you are. So it's great to hear from you. That's fantastic. And definitely we want to start another module and see you again soon. Via an email, this is for Maria. This is from Janice Cook. The panel have discussed the different mental health challenges in general between rural settings from urban. I'd like to hear from a justice perspective how rural justice and urban justice differ. It's a very specific and good question. Maria, can you help us out?
Right, so I mostly have worked in rural settings. But if I have to compare with, the conversations that I have had with other social workers in cities, is that our relationship with our clients is a lot closer. We do tend to provide mental health support quite a lot. We actually provide mental health support, recovery support. We are a lot more involved. Sandra, you would be able to talk about the relationship that you have got with your supervising officer. So rural-based social work, in justice social work, is very relationship-based because we have a lack of resources. So therefore we are the resources. So, but it creates it's just completely different. We shop in the same shops and we go to the same places. Our children go to the same schools. So it's completely different. We're all intertwined in a way. So everything affects all of us in the community because it's small communities.
Yeah, sounds lovely. It seems that there can be a great sort of tight-knit community between neighbours then. There's less people who actually know each other and see each other. That's lovely. My next question, although I would quite like to ask, Sandra, you quickly mentioned that you seek help in urban areas, but then said that you felt the Highlands was a really better place for you to seek help. Can I just ask a bit more information about that?
To be honest, I've suffered mental health problems now for over 20 years. And I just didn't feel that, I moved here and obviously some things had happened, made situations worse, but I felt like my doctor was right on the mark. He got me on the right medication because my other doctor, won't say nothing, had me on the wrong medication for a good number of years. And my doctor here, he really focused on me and spoke to me, found out what help I needed. Straight away, I was given a CPN and a support worker, which, as I said, were absolutely amazing until obviously COVID hit. But they were still brilliant in the sense that they would phone me a couple of times a week. They would never, and if I needed them at any point, I had their mobile numbers. So I would just text them, they would ring me straight back or call them. And it was the same situation with my daughter. And if I was having a bad day, she could phone them and they knew her. And as I said, the only thing that I waited years for was a bigger doctor to see me. But I just feel like in a smaller place, they focus more on their patients. Is that maybe the wrong thing to say? But I just feel like they know you, because when you're in a bigger town, you're phoning up the doctors and you're not always getting the same doctor. And I just felt that I was having to go into a doctor's surgery and explain my issues every time I seen a different doctor. So a place like this, you're seeing the same doctor all the time. And so they know you, they know your struggles, they know your life, and they can focus more on helping you that way rather than seeing different doctors and explaining to different people. Does that make sense?
That makes perfect sense, Sandra. Absolutely. That makes all the sense in the world. And Thank you for sharing that with us as well. I know that it's a difficult thing to be able to be open and honest about your experiences, but you've summed up fantastically and given them. I mean, I want to move to the Highlands now. So that's great. It sounds lovely.
The buses are rubbish. The public transport is not good. I think that's the only thing that's bad about it.
Well, everyone's got their ups and downs, but it's great you've got this great support system. That sounds incredible.
Definitely.
I'm so glad you found that. Next question I'm going to go is via Facebook. Stephen Walsh has asked, how do Rhona and Sandra feel about the anonymity? Can't speak. Anonymity in workshops. Do they like the no sharing of personal details? I'll answer first, Stephen. I much prefer it, because if I'm given a list of names and I'm told why these people are here, or like what, you can't help but have a preconceived notion of this person. You walk in and you think, oh, they've done this or they've done that. So, and without even, thinking too hard or trying not to, you are absent-mindedly judging people. So when you go into a workshop and you don't know, you just know their first name, that's it. And you find out things about them. Like you find out, I don't know, their favorite meal, what superpower they would have. Like you get to know all these little nice things about their personality, and we don't necessarily need to focus on the troubles and the hard things and the woe. And because that allows the person to walk into this workshop and be whoever they want to be in that space, because they're not burdened by this name, this bad name, or what they've done, or why they're here, or all these things that they feel they might have to explain. Instead, we can just meet and be human beings coming together and working together and creating something together. And it can be just that simple. And for me, I much prefer that, because I feel like I get to know my participants really well, but it's all about like their thoughts of things and their opinions on things, and like I feel like I get to know them as a person rather than what they've done, or things like that. So I find it much freeing. Sandra, would you agree with me or would you disagree?
100%. I'll be the first one to put my hands up and say that if I was in something like this and I knew the details of somebody, I would Google them and find out, and I would, and I mean, that's maybe a woman thing, a nosy thing, but it's also a, how can I explain it? Like a panic thing. I don't want people to know about my life, so I don't really feel that I should judge people. Like I met a great bunch of people. I really don't care why they're there, why I'm there. I met an amazing group of people. Not behind every criminal is not always a bad person. It's somebody that's, troubled. And I don't want to know anything about that about people. I would love to meet people and judge them and how they are with me. Treat me with respect, I'll respect you back. Simple. So yeah, the anonymity is really good. But it's, as my facilitator says to us, it's totally up to us what we talk about, and we do have safe words. But yeah, I didn't want people to know about me and my life, and so I don't think that other people would want me to know about theirs.
Absolutely. And I think as well, with people coming in, like knowing why they're there, it's kind of branded. You have to explain it. One of my participants described it as like, you just think that I'm a bad person. I'm a bad person.
Yeah.
And to be able to take that off and see what's underneath and the person, and you and learn about more things about you as well. I find this workshop, like a lot of participants are like, I didn't know I could write a script. I didn't know that I was good at improvising. I've just found out recently that people who have is it ADHD or difficulty reading, they're very good at unscrambling words. Fantastic at it. I did an unscrambling little thing, and the person who struggles to read was like, it's that word, it's that word, it's that word, it's that word. Because so they find out little strengths about themselves, strengths about their character, that they are funny because everyone laughs and enjoys their company, looks forward to seeing them again. There's a great community that's formed, and in that environment of feeling they're more confident, allows them to then see a future, see hope, see things. I can do anything. Well, not anything, but I can now try try for that job. I can maybe look into doing this and look into doing that, and taking steps forward. That's what I've seen happen personally. And
Yeah.
it's phenomenal, the effect of just allowing someone the freedom and the space to be able to be themselves without having that brand on them.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, some people walk about and, they say somebody's on one of these orders, they're a bad person, they've got, they must have done something really awful. And, I know from my experiences that not everybody's the same. And I'd hate to have that preconceived, because I am that type of person that if I knew something bad about somebody, I would look at them that way and I wouldn't look at them any other way. So, as I said, we were all there for a reason, but I don't know them reasons. And I feel like I met a great group of people.
Yeah. Also allows you not to look at yourself as well with that eye. We've been talking about that as well, especially with mental health. Some people really struggle to see themselves as someone who is worthy of love and worthy of happiness, especially if you have that branding. So to be able to have people look at you and not see that, but be able to see who you are behind that and all the great things you are, it makes a huge difference. Okay, next question. This is via email from Natasha. What advice would Sandra give to anyone considering joining a workshop?
Go for it.
Put it on you, Sandra. What advice would you give to someone?
I would definitely say go for it. That's all I can actually say. And like don't hold yourself back all the time. Let yourself be free to, I would never, as I said before, done anything like this. I mean, I'm 45 and, I found it hard even just going to a counsellor. But I went in there with an open mind. So that's the biggest piece of advice I can give anyone, is go in there with an open mind. Don't just shove it to the side and think you can't do it, because you can.
Perfect. Phenomenal advice, Sandra. Completely agree with you. Sort of sums us all up. Perfect. I would like to, I'm just looking at the time as well. Oh goodness, it's just raced by this time. I'd like to conclude by thanking you, our audience, of course, for the excellent comments and questions. Thanks to each of our panelists for your time and insights. And thanks as well to our wonderful facilitators, Marge and Lorraine. And of course, a special thanks to Sandra and all the participants who came up with this phenomenal script, bringing more attention to these important themes of mental health. I would like to ask as well, does anyone have a last comment that they would like to make? I'd like to open the floor if anyone wants to make one last statement or maybe ask one more
I feel
question.
like I've spoken too much, but can I just thank everyone? Like the people that got me in there, the people that run it, the people, living out in the country, you don't think that you can do something like that, but with it being online, you've helped me. That's all I can say. You helped me greatly.
That makes all the difference to us, that we even if we just help one person, that is phenomenal. And don't say you've talked too much, Sandra. Everything you've said has been diamonds. We've been picking them up. So you've been phenomenal and helped us so much today. So thank you so much, Sandra. Julie, would you like to make a final remark or anything you want to add?
Yeah, I just think, I just really appreciate what Sandra was saying there about, the perceptions and just having that confidence to do something that is out of, your comfort zone. I think it's so special. And I think it's a great initiative to allow people to do that. And also one of the other things, about seeing people in a certain way, when you think about criminals or crime, people in custody, there's a very strong link between childhood deprivation and bereavement with adult crime. And I think we're doing great work in trying to raise awareness of often these people that are doing these things are not, they are victims themselves, and it's things that happened early on that then grow and produce these things later on in life. So I think enhancing that understanding, that strong link between deprivation and bereavement in childhood and then adults. But I think it's a great initiative, and taking away that stigma and giving people confidence is just wonderful. And just hats off to everybody that's involved. I think it's great.
Thanks, Julie. You summed that up so beautifully there. Yes, absolutely. Agree with you completely wholeheartedly. Chris Mackenzie, would you like to have any passing remarks you'd like to make?
Just to say the comments and the whole thing's been great. It's been great just listening to everybody's comments. What I'd like to say is our 2 centres at the minute are restricted because of COVID. We can only do 2 sessions, one in the morning, one in the afternoon, and we can only have 10 in through the day. But for anybody in the Caithness area, we're fighting hard to get us back to our drop-in facility, open every day, where anybody can come in and see us. At the moment, it's through referrals, but as I say, we're hoping to get back to normal and be open every single day of the year, where folk can get a hot meal and get a lot of support. So fingers crossed, if we can get rid of this pesky COVID, we'll be there.
Yes, fingers crossed that you can now open your doors every day and give this vital resource to the people. Phenomenal work you've been doing, Chris. And yes, as you said, hopefully get that pesky COVID away once and for all, and we can all get back to helping as many people as possible. Phenomenal. Last but certainly not least, Maria, would you like to add a final statement you'd like to say?
Yeah, I just, as I said before, I'd just like to say thank you to everybody, really. And I think that for us, social workers at Caithness and Sutherland, it was fantastic to see our clients, the participants, beaming after it, the changes, how the confidence, and the increased self-esteem, being participating in such a creative process and feeling safe, not feeling stigmatized, and just trying something new that allow that creativity, because when you feel safe, you can create. So obviously that space was a safe place for everybody, and that is really good when you are in the community and you're maybe not feeling so safe and you are feeling the anxiety that it was portrayed in the script. To have this space that actually allows you to blossom and create, I think it was really good. Very, very, very good experience for everybody.
Exactly, that's a beautiful word, blossom. Exactly, I think that sums it up phenomenally well. And I think it was summed up as well by James Maybee as well, when he said people thought this might be like a soft touch for people, this might be too easy. When it's hard, it's pushed people to go outside their comfort zone and rebuilds their confidence. And as I said, makes them then go and make better choices for themselves and for our community as a whole. So absolutely. Phenomenal. Thanks so much. It's been a fascinating discussion. As I said, I could go on for another hour, but we know the time's coming up. Thanks also, of course, thanks to our audience. Thank you to everyone as well. Thank you for your excellent questions. You will find all of our lived experience films, panel Q&As and one-to-one interviews on our YouTube channel. And remember to follow our socials. The links are all on our homepage at www.streetcones.org. Finally, anyone interested in learning more about the work that we do at Street Cones, please email my colleague Mark McNichol on mark@streetcones.org. Thank you, everyone. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Take care and goodbye.
You too. Goodbye.
Thanks so much, guys. You've been...
1, 2, 3. Never want my children to live a life like mine, so I faced my inner demons, one small step at a time, one small step at a time. I was a boy without belonging, a jigsaw piece that didn't fit. If someone shouted out the answer, then you know I didn't hear it, you know I didn't hear it. I'm not the man I used to be. Gone are the days when all I could see was myself in the mirror, trying to break free, trying to break free. It's taken many years of feeling all alone So many years of emptiness with no place to call a home, no place to call a home. Now I'm feeling so much stronger as my demons walked away. I think they finally realized they had nothing more to say, nothing more to say. I'm not the man I used to be. Gone are the days when all I could see was myself in the mirror, trying to break free, trying to break free. So many days have passed now, and my life is still on track. And if them demons try returning, I'll have the strength to send them back. I'll have the strength to send them back. They'll never pull me down again or ever cause me pain. I can see a brighter future and it's heading in my way. It's growing brighter every day. I'm not the man I used to be. I'm not the man I used to be. Oh, I'm not the man I used to be. Gone are the days when all I could see was myself in the mirror, trying to break free, but now I've broken free.